She has been called the smartest woman on Wall Street. Now, Patricia Walsh Chadwick is sharing her story in a new book, Breaking Glass: Tales from the Witch of Wall Street. Patricia, thank you so much for your time today.
I appreciate being on.
Let's talk a little bit about the title, Breaking Glass, such an inspirational, two words put together, but the Witch of Wall Street, maybe not so much. Where did that name come from?
Well, I only discovered it was applied to me a few years ago, after my career, long after my career had ended. And at first I was shocked and dismayed, which, why would anybody call me that? And then I thought about it a lot and realized that perhaps the characteristics that are rewarded and admired in a man that lead to the top get a woman called a witch. So I've decided to enjoy it. And I think I've gotten along with many, many, many men, and I'm very grateful to men who were mentors to me. And I've just decided to laugh and enjoy being called the Witch of Wall Street.
And embrace it, because you're breaking the glass ceiling, you're being a disruptor, and you're showing that anything is possible because of the long career that you had in finance. Talk a little bit about this book.
So this book is a sequel to my first book, which was titled Little Sister. And it was the story of my growing up in what was a Catholic community, very tightly knit, 100 people, 39 children, 60 adults, but tragically morphed into a cult. And so, but I was born into it. And by the time I was 6 years old, I was separated from my parents, and my parents were forced to take vows of celibacy, and we lived a monastic life, completely sheltered from the outside world. Never went to a movie, never saw a television show, never even held a dollar bill in my hand, which was fascinating to ultimately go into the world of finance. And never knew the single name of a movie star or a baseball player. And so when I was kicked out at 17, and the reason I was kicked out was because the person that ran the organization, Sister Catherine, had determined that I would not make a good nun. And she was very right about that. So it was a blessing to be kicked out so early, except that I knew nothing about the world. So I had my eyes and my ears open and my mouth shut as I tried to meander my way through. And she allowed me, even though I had been accepted at Vassar and Bates, she disallowed me to go there and allowed me to go to a secretarial school, so that when I got through that, the jobs that were available were the kind that a secretarial school gets you ready for. And my first was as a receptionist. And I just had to be adaptable, which I think I did well, and which I encourage young people to do today. Be adaptable, make yourself invaluable, and little by little, you can climb the ladder.
Talk a little bit about your journey from starting off as a receptionist, moving on up, and then ultimately, getting the position that you did.
Yeah, so my final position, just as I was going to leave Wall Street, was as a global partner at Invesco. But I attribute a lot of my success to the mentors that I had, and I dedicate the book to the mentors. And they were all men, because there were no mentors, very few women in the world of finance and Wall Street. There were a few, but they were few and far between. And I really felt benefited by the information that was shared between me and my mentors. And I dedicate the book to them, and I have little bios of all of them. But an example of adaptability started from my very first job as a receptionist. And I was there answering the phones and trying to make myself useful, and getting the brokers their lunches, and Xeroxing things for them. And a year later, the head partner in the office came up to me and said, "How would you like to go down to New York tomorrow?" We were in Boston. "And there's going to be a limousine that's going to pick you up, and I want you to pick up $5 million in 5 checks from 5 different investors." I was not even 21 years old. And I was so excited, and picking out the right clothes and all of that kind of stuff, which were not very fancy at all. And when I came back from that one day's experience, I thought, wow, I can go places from here. And I was getting my degree at night. And ultimately, while still getting my degree, I went to Philadelphia. So I went to the Wharton School and took classes there at night, and eventually got to Manhattan in January of 1975. And from there, those steps had been pretty big ones. And then, over the next 25 years, just kept working my way up. It's aggressive. It's an aggressive life, but I keep reiterating how valuable the support of mentors was.
This is going to be a wonderful gift for graduations, but also a great read for parents as well, too, because you're going to have those students graduating from high school, going into college, into the real world, or those who are graduating from college who maybe don't know that next step, or might be applying for their very first job and need to look for those mentors or need to look for those resources to give them a successful career.
And I hope this book really, it's not telling you how to do things, it's showing how one person did them. But for me, I think that's value added. I think it's very important to tell young people graduating from high school or college, to be flexible, be adaptable. Don't say my way or the highway. And some people may know what career they want, that's fine. But for others, take the path that you are guided along and make the best of it.
And then final thing here, you share so much about growing up with Sister Catherine and the cult that your family was in and breaking out of it. But so many times people have something that's either traumatic or something challenging to them growing up, and they have trouble kind of getting out of it or always being in that headspace. Maybe I have a message to them as far as like not letting that particular thing define you.
Well, the truth is, I told in my first book, Little Sister, that only came out 5 years ago. And my entire career on Wall Street, nobody knew anything about my childhood. And so you can keep certain secrets, but don't let them hold you back. We all come with characteristics that can lead us forward. Count on those and seek mentors. Mentors are invaluable. And there's no such thing as a bad mentor. A bad mentor is no mentor. Someone who will give you time, give you responses, give you advice, answer your questions. I would not be where I got if I had not had the benefit of the men that were in my life for sometimes only a couple of months at a time. One very, very short job I had in Boston when the company was in the middle of a recession and the company was being bought out. And the guy said, I can't get you a job, but I can get you an interview. Go to New York tomorrow. And that interview led to my being asked to come to New York. And I went home to him. His name was Stu Harvey. And I said, oh my gosh, I've been offered the job. I'm so excited, but I just came back to Boston. What should I do? And he said, do you want to make it big? I said, yes. He said, go to New York. Now, that's in the world of finance. You don't have to do that with every career. But that was so invaluable to me, a man that I literally had only known for 6 weeks. But he was a leader. He was a mentor. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
My goodness. Patricia, thank you so much for sharing your story. The new book, Breaking Glass, Tales from the Witch of Wall Street, in stores now. And much success with the book. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.